music. We all listen to it, and we all have that one special artist that we just love listening to. Now, artists are really a symptom, if not a direct, effect, I guess, from our society. Every artist is a product of their own time period. Good examples are the Beatles, Queen, Nirvana. All three of these heavily associated with the time period that they became famous in. Now we all also, I'm sure, can agree that different time periods often have different social struggles. For instance, civil rights in the 1960s. The problem is, though, that while we often are able to accept the fact that there were problems in past societies, we don't like to think about the fact that maybe those problems could have been upheld or even supported by the musicians that we like. So first, I would like to discuss how music and culture are really linked. So sheet music, written pitch, as well as pitch standardization. I'm going to assume that you all know what sheet music is. Pitch standardization is basically saying what note equals which frequency. So it's very exact, and that actually changes. Well, it did change for a long time depending on which country you were in. So something even as simple as just what kind of notes you're playing came down to just what country you were in. It was completely based on the culture of, in that particular area. And I think that kind of plays into how music is a unifying effect. People play and create music because we like to think that there's somebody else out there who's feeling the same feelings that we're feeling, either just by listening to the music or by listening to it with other people. Now, to make money from music, you need to be able to find your own clique, and you can't completely break away from every other person because then nobody else will ever want to listen to you. The three uniting factors that I found are the most present would be religion, what kind of emotions you're feeling, and nationalism. Now, we like to think that in this modern society that religion and nationalism aren't really as present anymore in music. But not too long ago, when 9/11 happened, there was a huge increase of those stereotypical country songs talking about how America's God's country and we're going to go overseas and deal with the terrorists who want to threaten our ways. This music really stood out to a lot of people, and a lot of people still found comfort in it, regardless of their other opinions on something, because after 9/11 everybody could agree that we're all Americans and this was an attack on all of us. So music representing our culture. So as I was talking about earlier, a lot of musicians, if you want to make music palatable to a large number of people, it has to be special to that group of people. You have to try to reach out to people's experiences, which are based completely off of what time period you come from. And as I said earlier, artists are all products of their time, which I think is very important for the next person I'm about to show you, the Beatles. So John Lennon, as we all know, we often have this image of him as some wise, grand person who just wanted love and peace for everybody. There's also a very edgy joke regarding John Lennon, specifically addressing to anybody who always goes on social media and they see a picture of Billie Eilish or some other modern musician, and they say, wow, this music is so trash, it's so immoral now, why can't we go back to the good days? And the meme is a bit offensive, but I would like to say it to you guys. It's that music was better when John Lennon was beating his wife. Now, I think that's actually very legitimate criticism, because we have this idealized version of John Lennon in our heads, and we often ignore how in the real world he was actually kind of a bad person. And it's not even just that you have to go digging to find this stuff about his personal life. This stuff was present in their music as well. The Beatles song Run for Your Life features these lines. Well, I'd rather see you dead, little girl, than to be with another man. You better keep your head, little girl, or I won't know where I am. That song was written by John Lennon, and nobody ever discusses exactly how messed up that song actually is. How the problems that John Lennon had with his own masculinity and with other women, how he put those into his own music, and nobody ever really notices until you actually pay close enough attention. Another good example, Aerosmith. So Aerosmith came out with the song Dude Looks Like a Lady, which, reading the lyrics, it's based off of a story where the lead singer, Steven Tyler, has to deal with the profound shock of finding out that a woman who he found attractive was transgender. Now, I don't think it's very hard to see exactly how transphobic that song is, saying that because somebody is transgender, they can't be attractive to you, and especially the fact of bringing attention to the shock that somebody can feel, as if like it's some kind of trap towards you. This is from a Fox News clip where Chelsea Manning, who was a U.S. soldier, she transitioned after she was held and tortured by the government for whistleblowing. And Fox News decided to, first off, they misgender her in the title, but besides that, they played the song Dude Looks Like a Lady over her picture. I think that example, shocking and kind of as horrifying as it is, it really shows exactly how much the music that we listen to impacts our own views on other people. A common defense, actually, which is very upsetting in court cases where somebody attacked or sexually harassed or did something to their transgender partner, a common common defense is called the trans panic, where they felt that they were trapped or tricked into having sex with them, and therefore they were right to react in however way they saw fit at that particular time. Now, I'm not trying to say that Aerosmith wanted people to go out and murder transgender people, but I do think that, especially in the instance of this song, that it kind of shows exactly how music like this can put messages into people's heads, reinforcing the stereotypes that society tells us. Those are more examples, in my opinion. John Lennon one is more of an example of a personal conflict, while the Aerosmith one is more societal. So these societal ideas, they can kind of become part of the music that we enjoy, and they can kind of taint the whole experience. A good example of this is that a lot of music, it holds it in these societal norms and like ideas, and we feel as though like I really enjoy the song Look at Me by XXXTentacion, but I also, reading the lyrics, acknowledge that the song is very problematic and kind of pushes this violence against women, So I force myself to not listen to it, even though I enjoy the song. And a lot of people, they aren't willing to give up music that they like just because there's a message in there that they don't agree with. And in my opinion, this can actually stop societal change, because people don't want to have to give up the things that they love just because it reinforces the problems in our society. They would rather be able to just sit back and just enjoy their music without ever having to think about the problems that come with it. My third point is that music today, it has become a lot better, in my opinion. XXXTentacion, I would say not as much, but he's kind of an example of some of the problems that the music industry still has today. Overall, people have become more accepting of a lot of new artists and a lot of minorities that typically have been cast away in the music industry. But I want to bring attention to some of the problems that are still present in the music industry today. For instance, in my Redigan project, we had to reflect on a song and discuss what societal stereotypes were present in it. And the song I chose was called Porno by an artist named IDK, which I actually do still enjoy the song, but the lyric that stood out to me the most and what shocked me the most is, "Back to my banana, this brain food is why she's smart," which is a very problematic line, but as I was speaking to earlier, I still enjoy the song and I still enjoy listening to it, even though I know in the back of my mind that it's a messed up song that's promoting a messed up message. So overall, there are still artists that push the boundaries and are more accepted now than they would in previous generations. The one that two that I think we all can see simply because you guys all know who two of these artists are, Lil Nas X and Tyler, the Creator, two LGBT performers who basically everybody loves, which is not something that you could have found 20 years ago. Overall, the music industry is becoming a lot more progressive, and it is becoming more aware of the ways in which it promotes different ideas. But the problem that I have with the most is the fact that we still idolize a lot of these musicians. We still view them as somehow better than us just because they're able to make music and be out on a stage and sing it for us. We need to acknowledge that just like John Lennon and any other musician before him, everybody is a product of their time, and we all take in certain biases from the society that we live in. And I think that it's important that we understand that every artist is going to have those, so that we can move forward and create a better society while being aware of the problems of the past. Thank you.